The bounty hunters. He stares out at the image at the view screen. Albrith, it's entirely psychological, but he can almost see the scars on the world from orbit. After his explanations, he had asked some questions of his own, and that they not spare his feelings. The mission recordings had been nothing short of horrifying. The explanation of what his clone had created and done had nearly made his heart stop. How? How did it go so twisted and wrong? How did something that was effectively himself through a cracked lens come out so wrong? A quiet whispering part of his mind tells him that he should have expected this when he was informed that the clone had been hollowed. No one gets the hollow called down upon them without very good reason. The price is too high for anything else. Even then takes a sniff at the bottle of drink he has with him. The following medical scan had given him time to get over his shock, while also confirming he had an abundance of new and extremely robust organs. His diet now stretched the same breadth as a human, and that was a field so wide that even canidors and others like them found it absurd. His latest poison was something called whiskey. He was sipping it bit by bit, and the effect it had on his system was fascinating. The sheer method his body resisted the toxin was something that he could write entire books about. That his drink was also flammable was equally fascinating. For a moment, a brief moment, he contemplates perhaps being part of an expedition into the null. Wouldn't that take him away from his mistakes? Biosculpt a team, build a robust, retrofitted ship, and go deep into the most hostile part of the galaxy. That would certainly be a positive contribution to the galaxy as opposed to this mess. But no amount of running or ignoring or mind-altering substances can change the fact that there is an ocean's worth of blood on his hands. The whiskey burns on the way down. Just because you can survive running into a bottle doesn't mean you should. Believe me, a voice says as Ivan turns to regard. Bernard Ding, yes? Call me Dong. I'm not sure I understand the joke. The sound a bell makes is often characterized as ding-dong. Dong's also a slang for penis, and calling someone a dong means they're being stupid. And you like that? It's just a word. Besides, I'm calling them plenty of stupid things too. Most of them are even worse for how they deserve them more. Rico's called air farce because even though he's a really good pilot, his inability to take things seriously nearly destroyed his career, and before the Dauntless shipped out, his choices were leave the planet or go to prison. Really? He's the kind of person that could pull off any stupid maneuver you could imagine, and also be reckless enough to actually try. Someone like that is amazing to have in an active dogfight or aerial battle, but a nightmare to deal with in any situation that doesn't need immediate action. I have it on good authority his former commanding officer wanted nothing more than to kill him personally for all the trouble he caused. Is everyone like that? No, of course not. But we all have our own little stories, especially in the names. The Hat and Tang's call signs are mockeries of their home languages. The Hat's for being almost unpronounceable by outsiders, and Tang's for using words that sound like something a child thought up. J3's nickname is both a commentary on the overuse of a single letter in his name and how he's the third in his family with that name. Mustard for pranks he suffered and a dig at his country of origin. Itchy's is a warning for the man to calm the hell down. Mr. T is a mockery of his appearance and home country. Bike for something stupid he said in training, and Pukey for something stupid he did in training. Because it's one thing to just insult someone with a flurry of foul language, it's another to remind them of their own past and history. Makes it personal. Ivan considers. And also friendly. A nickname is a sign of endearment as much as an insult. Not to mention they can be used in some funny-sounding insults. Every time I hear "dong you damn dong," I nearly hurt myself laughing. It's so stupid. It's perfect. Dong explains while laughing, and Ivan can't help but chuckle along. It is a silly-sounding insult, he will concede that. Still, you're having heavier thoughts, I assume. I'm not sure if you can help me with those. Well, as a person a lot of people have confessed to, I'm sure I can at least hear you out. Confessed? Confessed what? Guilt. There are some people that are trusted to offer judgment. Priests are more popular, but a lot of people will confess to a lawyer. You're a lawyer? Ivan's tone spoke volumes about how likely he thought that was. I just barely passed my exams when the call to crew the Dauntless went out. I wasn't skilled enough to get on their legal team, so I went to the physical training. Somehow, that worked, and now here I am. Dong says before shrugging. Go figure that after trying to be clever about things and failing that brute forcing it would work. All right then, Honorable Lawyer Dong. Ivan's voice is heavy with sarcasm. In your professional opinion, what should I do? In my professional opinion, you're free and clear. Your clone was who committed the crimes, and very, very few judges would be willing to tolerate such a case against you. Popular opinion, on the other hand, might see you skinned alive and your carcass thrown down a salt mine. Dong says, yeah. To make matters worse, this will make Albrecht absolutely horrified at cloning, and the technology might be banned in system altogether. I know. To say nothing, the method we used to destroy the pale generators and that face abomination, cleaning out the remains of the poison is going to be a pain. Even if what we used has a fairly short half-life, the rest of the galaxy is very vulnerable to such things, and we need to really make sure there's nothing of it left. And the cities themselves, more death, more despair, more disappointment, Ivan says, taking a sip of the whiskey. Dong then takes it away from him and screws the cap of the flask back on. That's enough. Wallowing in the problem won't solve it. And how does one solve the problem of over 400 billion dead? Ivan asks tartly. He knows better than to fight for the flask. Unless he brings about his axiom skills, he's not getting it back, and using axiom against his nominal rescuers and allies is not something he's ready to do. Not by drinking, not with despair, Dong says, and Ivan sighs as he simply stares at the world. From orbit, it looks unhurt, but only from orbit. Then with what? Ivan asks. A sane, sober mind. Some things are unforgivable. Some actions cannot be justified. But things being torn out of your control and spiraling into a nightmare is not your fault. My fault or not, it's still my responsibility, Ivan says shortly. And how do you fulfill it in a sane and sober manner? I'm sure giving yourself to the people to be punished might be cathartic, but at the end of the day, that's just one more corpse for the pile. So how do you make it right without adding your own pointless death to the mix? Ivan begins to say before realizing he actually has no answer. He doesn't know what to do. I don't know. Good, Dong says, and he gets a confused look from the unnaturally tall Kobe, who's still head and shoulders shorter than he is. First step to finding an answer is admitting you don't know it and need to look. Just make the offer already. You don't need to butter me up, Ivan says, looking away from him. We need researchers, and our organization is dedicated to rescue, protection, and disaster relief. We also particularly want the best, the very best of the best. Someone who went through an unending hell and violation as gracefully and with the dignity you did, if you want a place to belong. A place where your knowledge and skills will be put to the test helping people. We can make it happen. What will it mean? Ivan asks. Unless you request a different posting, you will be sent to the Dauntless on Centris. There you will work with our scientists and specialists, likely in advanced medical techniques, not to mention the ascension you mentioned earlier will spark a lot of interest. You may have indirectly killed many, but if you work with us, maybe you can save even more. Keep talking, Ivan says. We've been experimenting with biomodding, mostly through Axiom. Titan Squad is our first major success, and apparently one of our soldiers in an odder situation is using that training well. But we need something that we can use en masse. We're recruiting. We're recruiting like mad, and we're mastering the training it takes to take the chaff of the galaxy and mold it into something mighty. But if their bodies just can't keep up, you can't just recruit Canadors, Apuk, and other apex races without end. They all have their own martial cultures and will pick that homegrown strength over something foreign. Ivan muses. The sensation of despair has dissipated, and the man is now pacing as he considers. A small claw tapping the end of his muzzle. What kind of improvements are you intending to make for yourselves? I can't give you the complete list, but I can name 3 of them right off the bat. 3 that you are currently enjoying. Human traits to be added to other races. Which ones in particular? I doubt it's the height. As interesting as it's been, the digestion is no doubt one of the items of interest. What else is there? You guessed right with digestion. There's also the fact that humans have immense endurance and staying power compared to most species. While somewhat less strenuous moment to moment, the human workday is twice as long as the galactic standard. I can see the benefit. A soldier or rescue worker that is utterly unceasing is invaluable. Finally, there's a chemical reaction in our bodies called adrenaline, an emergency combat stimulant that's been compared to a frenzy patch. Really? When I saw them listed as being upon my new blood filtration organs, I assumed they were some kind of antitoxin measure, such as a nullifying bile of some sort, or maybe a chemical tag that forces the body to expel the poison, Ivan says. Emergency stimulant. It's released in high-stress scenarios and increases focus, reaction speed, and strength, and it also reduces pain responses. It can be addictive, but it's a very reliable and robust piece of biology. How many races have it? Ivan asks curiously as his mind whirls at the possibilities. It's damn near universal. The only requirement for an adrenal system on Earth is internal organs and a spine, meaning that it's no accident that I, a reptile, can have the same systems as you, a mammal. These are universal components, Ivan remarks. That's most of the work done already when it comes to splicing and perfecting a genome. So, I have your attention? Dong asks. Yes you do, Ivan states before sighing. But there is still business to attend to here. The remains of the abominations my clone made must be disposed of. The remaining support clones must be rounded up, and I need to both deprogram them and remake their genome so they stop aging at 3 to 4 times speed. Furthermore, I need to find some way to actually, I don't know, apologize or something. They need to know the horror is over with. They do need to know. But like I said earlier, offering yourself up as a sacrifice helps no one in the end. Dong agrees. Well then, how is that done? Public declaration that openly uses all the words that would get people killed before. A full disclosure on almost everything. You will be spoken of as a victim, and Dong's explanation is cut off by Ivan's subconscious growl. If we don't, you'll have the pleasure of trying to dodge a hollow. Is that what you want? No. And I suppose the catharsis of knowing their malefactor has met with much deserved murder would also help. This isn't right. This isn't how it's supposed to happen. No, it's not. But if things were right in the galaxy, then shit like this wouldn't happen at all, would it? Dong asks. No, it wouldn't, Ivan says as he takes a deep breath. Let's get to work then. The sooner we've lanced this boil, the sooner the pus will drain. Pretty nasty comparison. It's a nasty situation.